You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
This is the Bearded Wonder, Zane Paisley. Joining me today is Kevin Sullivan's favorite referee out of the Pacific Northwest. We have Sign Guy. Sign Guy, how you doing today?
Doing well. Great to be back with you. My first time on the Nerdcast.
Yeah, so excited that you could join us today. You have an open invitation whenever you want to come on. Whenever your work schedule and your out-of-ring schedule allows you to do that. So happy to have you on. How you been?
Doing fairly well. It's been a little bit of inclement weather in the region, but, up here in Fez country in Seattle, not too bad.
Okay, all right. What you got coming up this weekend?
Well, this week, scheduled for Sunday. I'm guessing depending on the weather situation down there, because just got hit with the blizzard. NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tim Storm coming to NWA Blue Collar. I will be there to officiate his defense of said world title.
That sounds awesome, and that's against Bad Blood, right?
Yes, NWA Continental Champion Bad Blood, the challenger. We were supposed to have it this past Sunday, but because of the inclement weather in Portland, the flights were canceled going into Portland, and they had to reschedule everything and push it forward 1 week. But as far as everyone knows, we should have him in this Sunday.
Well, that sounds great. This weekend, tomorrow I will be checking out the Raven Comedy and Wrestling Stories here in Indianapolis at the Sinking Ship 2, put on by Mad Hatter Shows. So look for me in the crowd. Should be a great time. And on Friday, I will be at WCW Wrestling at the Outlaw Arena, 1151 South Kentucky Avenue here in beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana. I will be ring announcing, so it should be another great event for them. Are you ready to do the 3 count?
I've been ready for months to do the 3 count. I'm a huge fan of the 3 count.
Can you sing their song for us?
Which one? They have multiple ones.
Well, the whichever one comes to mind first.
I probably shouldn't. But there's a fan out here by the name of Cat in the Hat who loves 3 count more than anything, and she has beautiful renditions of all their songs. If I don't want to do it injustice, I'd get the heat with the Cat in the Hat.
That sounds lovely. All right, for count 1, it is being reported that Jay Lethal, the Young Bucks, Adam Page, Bobby Fish, and Christopher Daniels have all signed new deals with Ring of Honor. But it is also being reported that Kyle O'Reilly, Raymond Rowe, and Adam Cole will all be joining WWE later this year. I've heard for a while, and I actually predicted that there will be an influx of Ring of Honor talent coming to the WWE after the success so far of Roderick Strong and Austin Aries joining the NXT program. What are your thoughts about influx of Ring of Honor talent coming to WWE specifically with the NXT brand?
Well, it's not really anything new. They always seem to have spurts of Ring of Honor guys coming into them. I mean, for a while you had guys like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan on top. They were Ring of Honor guys. AJ Styles was with Ring of Honor when he came in. They got Alberto Patron back for his second run out of Ring of Honor, so they're always looking at Ring of Honor, so it's not surprised when they do need a talent influx to restock NXT that they look at promotions like Ring of Honor because they are a national touring and television product, so they have more experience going in than your standard independent performer with those types of things, so it's a good source for them to get new talent when they need it.
Yeah, and it's really strange, the mindset that WWE has changed to since guys like CM Punk left the company. They used to not give those guys too much of a chance, and now they really are. I would love it if they did another Dusty Classic here soon, tag team tournament, and had a bunch of these guys working that. I think it'd be awesome, and hopefully they'll be able to pull that off and make everything look great. Count 2, sadly, Rex King, who some of our listeners might remember as Timothy Well from the tag team Well Done, has passed away recently at the age of 55. Another tragic young wrestler's death. What I've heard is complications from kidney failure. Do you have any stories about Rex King, Timothy Smith, Timothy Well that you can share with us, Sign Guy?
I never got the chance to meet him. Familiar with his work. He was also very big up here in the Pacific Northwest as one of the Southern Rockers. They were a very top-rated team when Roddy Piper was in charge in the very late 80s, early 90s. He's very well known up here. I know he's been ill for the last few years. Very sad that he lost the battle, but he was a fantastic performer. Had the short run with WWE, but he was much bigger star in the smaller territories. Memphis, he had a great run. Portland, he had a great run. Puerto Rico was a great run for him. So definitely anytime we lose someone like that, bad day at the office.
Yes. It's very sad, and you know, we send our well wishes out to his family and friends. Count 3 is that NXT New Arrivals have gotten some new names. Most notably, Tommy End is now going to be called Aleister Black. It fits his character with the occult images and that sort of thing. I was kind of surprised that they didn't just let him keep Tommy End name, because he's made a name for himself throughout the wrestling world with that name, and I thought that recently they've been letting guys keep their previous worker names. What do you think about the name Aleister Black, and why do you think the WWE is making him change his name?
It reminds me, honestly, of Alistair Father Fear in the Kentuckiana region, who is a pretty well-known guy down there. So it instantly makes me think of him, which I'm sure on the national level that won't be the case. But as far as changing names, I think their preference is that pretty much most people change their name because they just like to be able to control the marketing aspect of it. They like to have the rights to the names. People like CM Punk were definitely the exception rather than the rule. That's why pretty much everyone that comes in gets a minor tweaking of the name at least, if not an outright completely different name. I don't know if it's still the case, but I know as of about 4 years ago, they were having people come up with a list of 3 to 5 names that they would submit to the office, and then the office would take those under strong consideration if they didn't already have something in mind for a talent. So that's just something that the WWE has pretty much always done, because they like to control the rights to a name if they're going to market it.
Yes, definitely. Another thing I thought was weird, though, is that Big Damo, who's been on NXT for past month or so, they've decided to change his name to Killian Dane, which isn't an awful name. Kind of fits his character, but why? I'm just shocked that they would have him being appearing on NXT shows on television under the name Big Damo, and then change his name after the fact. You got any thoughts or insights into that?
It's not unheard of. Sometimes it takes them a while to figure out what they're going to call someone or how they're going to use someone, and so they send them out with the thoughts of they'll just change it later. Ultimate Warrior was like that. He underwent several name changes, a few of which were on television before the Ultimate Warrior stuck, and the same with the Blue Blazer. He underwent several names before the Blue Blazer stuck, so not totally unheard of that they would do something like that, but we'll have to see how it plays out. It's possible that down the road he'll change names again.
Well, I hope they don't mess with Austin Aries or Roderick Strong, because those guys have already been on TV with their previous names, so I hope that they don't get changed anytime soon. To me, it's just an odd thing, and I don't know. I don't see the necessity in it anymore. But that's their jobs to do that. So, all right. Well, at this time, Killer Kev, can you please give our guest, give him a call? He is a multiple ECW, WCW, and WWE champion. He is going to be appearing in Indiana this weekend for Mad Hatter shows, January 12th and 14th in Indiana. Welcome, Raven. Raven, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Got the flu I'm fighting off, but, it is what it is.
It is what it is. Well, we appreciate you taking time with us. I'm looking forward to your show tomorrow at the Thinking Ship 2 in Indianapolis, Indiana for Raven Comedy and Wrestling Stories. Can you tell your fans what to expect from that show?
Expect me to do some stand-up comedy. I'll tell some war stories. I'll do a Q&A, let the people ask me some questions. The usual rigmarole.
Well, I don't know what the usual rigmarole is for you. I've seen...
Well, that's why I just said. That's why I stated it first, and then I said it's my usual rigmarole.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. I'm really looking forward to it. Are there any stories that you can give us a preview on as far as... crazy things that's gone on, because your wrestling career has been pretty extreme, not to use that as a pun, but can you give any of our listeners a preview to what to expect?
Well, I can give you a few stand-up bits. How about that?
Sure, one would do fine.
That's all you want? All right, sorry. I'll just give you one then. I went to a convention the other day. It was half men, half women. It was a hermaphrodite convention.
Very nice. I'm so looking forward to this show. And our listeners can get that from www.mhshows.com, searchengine.com. So they can check that all out there. I'm a huge fan of yours. I met you once in Terre Haute, Indiana. I snuck backstage with my brother to a taping of Thunder, hung out all day in catering until about 10 minutes before the show started, and we got kicked out. I'm sure that you hear these stories all the time. Have there been any crazy fan interactions of people sneaking backstage Yeah,
Mr. Belding from Saved by the Bell used to sneak backstage all the time. Like, not all the time, but whenever I'd be in South Carolina. And I met him on a plane, I think. And then so whenever we were in South Carolina, he'd sneak himself in, and then all the boys would pop for Mr. Belding.
Dennis Haskins, very nice, very nice. I've heard that he's a huge wrestling fan. He works as guest GMs occasionally too, I've heard.
Yeah, what?
He works as guest GM at different promotions around the country. So
did not know
that. Here's another thing. Do you actually know what a flock of ravens are called?
Yeah, just tell me, it slipped my mind.
Well, there's a couple different words for it. A conspiracy of ravens.
Oh yeah, a parliament of rooks.
I've not heard that one. I've heard of a conspiracy of ravens and an unkindness of ravens. That was a Jeopardy question I heard of. An unkindness Unkindness.
Never heard of a kindness, but I knew conspiracy of ravens and a parliament of rooks.
Very nice, very nice.
And I was a Jeopardy. I was actually a Jeopardy question.
What happened on Jeopardy that you were a question?
They called me up one day and they said, we need to get the name for exact pronunciation of your name. And I thought it was a joke, so I'm like, yeah, sure you do. And then they're like, no, seriously, you're a Jeopardy question. And it was a famous Jewish sports legends. And I was the $2,000 question. And it was basically something like this Jewish athlete is plays a character named Scott Levy plays a character named, and then what is Raven or something like that. I forget exactly.
That's awesome, though. You know, other than holding all these championships that you've held in the major promotions, you've also been considered one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling, not only for your own characters but for other people. What's one that stands out for you that you don't usually get credit for, but that you've helped somebody else out with?
Well, I invented the Blue Meanie. He was a really nice guy, and I thought, and he used to hang out with Stevie, and I thought, if I ever think of something for him, and then I was watching the Beatles, the Yellow Submarine one night, and then the arch heels in the Yellow Submarine are the Blue Meanies, and I thought he looked like one. So I put him in the Daisy Dukes in the half shirt, which is just hysterical, putting a fat guy in a half shirt, and his pants always falling off, and I threw him into the act. And Todd Gordon and Paulie were like, there's no way we're putting him in the act. I'm like, just trust me. They go, all right, we'll appease you, and we'll let him do one appearance. And then, of course, it turned into a career for him.
It most definitely did. He and Nova and Stevie still do the BWO all around the country to great success.
Well, Nova was already doing the Nova character. I liked how ridiculous it was, and so I threw him into the act. But he had already created the character, and then I came up with the idea to homage all the tag teams and turned them into the Fabulous Ones and the Kiss and everybody else.
Well, very nice, very nice. At this time, I'm going to pass it off to Sign Guy. Sign Guy, what do you have for Raven, who we will see this weekend in Indiana for Mad Hatter shows?
Wait, which Sign Guy is this?
This is the one in the Pacific Northwest that hangs out with Kevin Sullivan quite a bit.
I actually invented the Sign Guy character.
And thank you for that, for everyone.
I invented it originally for Sign Guy Dudley, and then I gave it to Lodi, and then I've never seen you before, so I can't. But if you're with Kevin Sullivan, then you're all right by me.
Thank you. Now, I remember a few years ago here in the Pacific Northwest, you did a loop, and it was a loop where you did a couple of tag matches, one of them in the middle of a big empty field. There's a lot of chicanery going on in those shows, girls fighting over boots and so forth. Was that one of the strangest shows you've ever been in part of?
Nah, it was just par for the course. Yeah, what was I forget all about? What were they fighting over boots for?
One girl borrowed another girl's boots, didn't give them back in time for her to use them for her WWE tryout. So when she came back, she took the boot off the girl in a shoot and started beating her with it. And there was various chicaneries going on. It made Tosh 2.0.
It was what?
It made Tosh 2.0 on the E Network at one point.
How did it make? I've done every episode. Wait, what did it make Tosh?
It's like probably about 6 months after it happened, it popped up on there.
Really? What did they show? What did they air?
They aired the small clip where she started whipping her with the boot.
Really? I don't think I've ever seen. Maybe I haven't seen every episode. Huh. There's this one really pretty girl that worked there, and she had the greatest T-shirt I ever saw. It said, "I'm too pretty to get fucked from behind."
Casey Spinelli is the girl in question.
What's her name?
Casey Spinelli.
Oh, it's tremendous. The greatest T-shirt I ever saw.
And you did get your start up here in the Pacific Northwest. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the things you learned from people like Don Owen and Sandy Barr that were the people behind Portland Wrestling at the time?
I didn't get my start there, actually. I'd already been working for a year or so. I'd already been working full-time in Memphis and Florida Championship Wrestling. But then I went to Vancouver, Canada for Al Tomko for a month, but that didn't work out. So I went to Portland, and I mean, there was nothing to learn from Don Owens. He didn't socialize. He was never there. And Sandy's a great guy, but I learned everything from the grappler. I just picked his brain every day. I used to ride with him, and because I was the green kid, he'd make me drive, and he'd go, "Hey, listen, kid, if you get tired, put my mask on and let the grappler drive."
Grappler's still teaching Green Days in Portland to this very day, actually.
Mm-hmm. Hey, listen, I gotta go, but it's good talking to you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and good luck with the show tomorrow in Indianapolis.
Thank you very much, man.
All right. Looking forward to meeting you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.
All right. That was awesome talking with Raven. Can't wait to see his big comedy show tomorrow night through Mad Hatter shows here in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Sinking Ship 2. Tickets are still available, so please contact Mad Hatter Shows for tickets. Sign Guy, I've got a big question for you tonight.
All right, Zane, I'm ready.
Well, Sign Guy, I know this is not your first interaction with Raven. You did not have time to talk to him about it on the Wrestling Nerdcast, but can you, what was your previous interaction with Raven?
I've had a few, actually. The first time I came across him was at one of the Pillman shows in Cincinnati, Ohio. We interacted there for a bit. And then I brought up the Pacific Northwest tour that had all kinds of indie shenanigans, chicanery, boot stealing accusations. After that show, he went down to Portland, Oregon, where I was going to purchase one of his photos to donate to a benefit show. It was one of the A Night for Billy shows, if you're familiar with those. All I had on me was a $50 bill, so I paid with that. He said he had no change for me yet, so he told me to come back for my change. I said, sure. I went back. He said, still no change, but give me about 5 more minutes and I'll have someone get change. I said, sure. I go back. He said, I sent all my money back with the guy to the locker room to put it away, so I'll get you at intermission. I said, okay. Intermission comes. He said, the guy put it in the car for safekeeping. He's like, are you going to the meet and greet after this? I said, wasn't planning to, but I guess I could. And he's like, yeah, I'll have your change, so make sure you do that. He forgot to go to the meet and greet after the show, Zane.
Oh, my.
He's forgotten my $40 for the past 6 years.
Oh, my.
Yes, Mr. I've never met you, guy that I owe $40 to still.
So I think the moral of that story, if anybody's coming with me to see Raven tomorrow night in Indianapolis, is to bring several different kinds of bills.
That and keep a close watch on your wallets.
Okay, all right. Anything else you want to talk about today, Sign Guy, before we head out?
I'll just throw out congratulations to Thunder Kitty.
Oh, yeah, Thunder Kitty was appearing as CJ Lundy last night on SmackDown against Carmella. What did you think about her performance, and then what did you think about the match overall?
I was very excited to see her. It brought me out of my seat. Wasn't expecting to see her on a SmackDown Live out of New Orleans, or Baton Rouge, I guess they were in last night, but great to see her. It surprised me. I thought she did a fine job. Match might have been a little on the sloppy side, but that's probably just because they had never work together. Sometimes the chemistry takes a couple of matches, and when you're doing an extra job, that's kind of the risk that you run, that the chemistry won't be totally there. But it wasn't a horrible match by any means. I thought she did fine. Was not a fan of them running down her gimmick the entire match, so that did not sit well with me, because I think her gimmick is absolutely fantastic. My guess is one of the producers just didn't understand the gimmick, and when she was going out similar to what her normal gimmick is, they decided to just mock it because of the lack of understanding. But at least she made it there. She got the extra gig. They know who she is. She got a good look. Second time in about the last 6 months, I turned my television on, and there was Thunder Kitty.
When was the other time?
In the summer, she was on Ring of Honor when they were featuring the Women of Honor. She was in a 6-woman tag match, also featuring Kelly Klein and Taylor Hendricks, and also Crazy Mary, whom is also signed with WWE now.
Yes, yes. Well, my thoughts on the match, I thought that she looked great. You said that it might have been because the sloppiness might have been because they had never worked with each other before. I know I've seen Thunder Kitty wrestle against people that she's never worked with before, and she did awesome. I'm going to put the blame squarely on Carmella. I doubt that Carmella has ever worked with someone outside of the NXT or WWE systems. It was rough. It was rough, and Thunder Kitty did her best to make it look good. James Ellsworth, who's also outside of that system, he did them no favors. I think he was late on a couple spots. He made it look bad, and he should know better. He's been there for the last couple months on TV, so he should know his spots better. And the worst part was the commentary team. JBL, I don't know what was going on with him, picking on her. It was bad. Isn't one of the first tenets of professional wrestling is make everybody look good? So even if you're beating somebody, you look better by beating a good person. It was just, they ran her down the entire time. She didn't deserve that. She's a great performer, and she did well in that ring. I definitely hope that they give her another shot. And you never know. Maybe they were picking on her because they want a female James Ellsworth type. You never know if CJ Lundy might show up next week wherever SmackDown is. So I can only hope that they're going something with it, because it made everybody look bad. But if they have a reason for making everybody look bad, it might be a good thing. So.
Well, you have to also keep in mind, I don't know anything for sure. I'm not in that office or anything. But the name that they sent her out there to use, also the name of one Arn Anderson. So that immediately hit me when I saw that. That might be a good sign for her that she's going to get a serious look, because usually if they give someone kind of an inside type of name like that, they usually stick around.
Well, that is true. That is true. Arn Anderson's given name is Martin Lundy, so you never know. Maybe that could lead to something. I sure hope for her, because I know that Thunder Kitty knows her stuff, and so hopefully they'll give her another look and continue with her storyline. So, all right, anything else, Mr. Sign Guy?
I think that does it on my end. Hopefully the weather will cooperate and Tim Storm will be in Portland this week. We missed him last week, but NWA World Title coming back to Portland. It has been many, many, many years since that has happened. So it's going to be great to have the World Heavyweight Champion back in the Rose City.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. Thank you to Raven for being able to join us today. Thank you to Sign Guy. Of course, thank you to Killa Kev, who's always great on the ones and the twos. The only thing I have to say is stay nerdy.